Hey everyone, good to see you. I'm going to record this meeting so you will be able to see it, and I'm going to let people on. I know they're coming. Hope this is not too boring for you. Those of you who are watching it later. Ha, there's somebody. Hello, Jenna.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good. Got my iced coffee in hand.
That's all you need, really.
All you need is iced coffee and a dog.
It's a lazy dog today. My
She
dog's
is.
doing the same thing.
It's her spot when she's not going crazy. That's where she's at.
Yeah, I've heard those can be a bit crazy, those dogs. So
They can be, but for the most part, everybody that I know that has one, they're super chill like this, unless they're around a bunch of people or other dogs, and then they're just like, they just want to play. But she's the best.
that's good. It's always good to have a little friend.
Hello, Mary.
Hello, how are you, Shannon?
I'm getting situated with my coffee and I just spilled a bunch on the floor. So excuse me while I wipe up my mess and get situated.
Jenna has coffee too, so you're in good company. Hers is iced.
Yes.
This is about the last hour of my day that I can have caffeine without being awake all night long. So
I wish that it affected me that way sometimes, honestly. I mean, it's nice to be able to drink it whenever I want it because I just like the flavor of it. So, but I can go to sleep right after drinking it.
I'm so jealous
miraculous.
of people who say that. Yeah, I only started drinking coffee last summer at age 54.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had always said, I'm not old enough to drink coffee. Because, when we were growing up, your parents were like, no, you can't have coffee. So it only took me 54 years, but now I can't get enough. I understand the ritual now.
You don't know what you've been missing.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Good job, coffee drinkers. I still hate coffee and do not like it and will not drink it.
So what's your drink of choice, Mary? Like
I drink tea and mostly iced tea. Yeah, and sweet iced tea. But I can't have caffeinated tea afternoon. So all of my tea in my house is decaf.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is super boring, but
nah.
Texas thing is, as Texans are tea drinkers for sure.
That's true. That's true. It's part of my Texas heritage that I have had to adopt as come on later Texan. They let me in. I'm from Seattle, which is a lot different than Texas.
That's the home of Starbucks.
I know. That's why I got kicked out. They kicked me out. They're like, girl, what is wrong with you? Leave our state, weirdo.
Yeah, if it's raining all the time, I would like a hot beverage in my hand. So I can see why Seattle is the home of Starbucks.
Yeah, rain. It makes sense. I drank a lot of hot chocolate back then. All right. Well, it looks like a lot of us are here. I'll just keep letting people on. But Jenna's going to be teaching us about Canva in a little bit, but I want to just have the newcomers and everybody reintroduce themselves. And I want you to share today, obviously your name and all of that, but an open door that you've experienced lately in your writing. And it can be really simple, or it could be grand, or it could be small. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so Jenna, we'll start with you and tell us who you are, what you write, and an open door.
Oh my goodness. I had to go first, didn't I?
I know, sorry.
It's okay. So my name is Jenna. I am one of the three girls, one of the three hosts of the podcast, Pastors' Wives Tell All. And Jessica and Stephanie, I'm not quite sure what they're doing right now. I think they're doing the pool or something. I don't know. They've got a lot of kids, but I told my husband, take the kids with you. I need quiet. So, we are currently in the process of working on our first round of edits with our book, our very first book that will come out next April. We're super excited about that. Goodness, an open door. I mean, this is incredible. I know that's not like a recent open door, but my mind continues to be blown every single day by what we get to be a part of just because we're writing a book. I mean, obviously we've met Mary and we got to attend the writer's retreat this past year, and that was incredible. And I got to meet a lot of you, Deanna, Jody. What's up, y'all? So I would say that's probably my open door. It's just
good.
everything that's come from that. Blessed for sure.
Awesome. All right, Shannon, you're new, so tell us what you write and your recent open door.
Well, historically, I've written books for women and couples in regards to sexuality and spirituality. But I recently moved to Springfield a couple years ago and connected with this group of people who run an operation called Eden Village, and they build tiny home villages for chronically ill people. And it touched a nerve so deep inside of me because my dad was homeless as a teenager, and I experienced homelessness for 1 year at around 19 years old as well. And so I just love what they're doing. And they were looking for an author to tell their story. So I offered to come alongside of them. And even though we haven't gotten our open door as far as a publisher yet, it was a big deal to get an open door for Mary to represent us as literary agent. But I have to process that we're going through of just interviewing people who've been involved in this mission over the past several years has opened many doors to me, feeling as if I have a connection to my neighbors that often takes decades to cultivate. So I feel deeply rooted, grounded in Springfield, Missouri now as a result of just offering to do this writing for them. So I love the meeting and the connection making.
That's awesome. And it's a beautiful ministry. Remind us of the website. Is it EdenVillage.com? I can't remember.
EdenVillageUSA.com.
Okay, EdenVillageUSA.com. Or is it .org?
I think it's .org.
I think it's .org because it is a 501c3. All right, thanks, Shannon. So good to have you here. Miss Jody, tell us who you are, what you write, and your open door.
All right, I'm Jody Grubbs. I live outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm writing a book about slow living. And about, 10, 12 days ago, I got my title from IVP. So I'm super excited about that. It's called Live Slowly, A Gentle Invitation to Exhale. And yes, I had to look up my notes because after years of thinking it would be something else, I'm having to rewire my brain to say it right. An open door continues to be people and relationships that God is just bringing in my path that I wouldn't have expected. 2 people in the last 2 weeks that are having a huge impact on my life. I didn't even know these people 2 weeks ago.
That's amazing. I like that publishing is really quite relational, which I really appreciate. Deanna, tell us what you're writing in your open door.
Yes, I'm writing a memoir about my father and I and meeting one another for the first time after 56 years. And my open door just this past week was that 23andMe contacted me to see if we could be their feature story for Father's Day. So I'm super excited about that. So that'll be coming out.
Yeah, and be praying for her book because I'm confounded that we haven't found a home for it yet, and it really deserves to have a home. And so just be praying for her memoir. It's beautiful. All right, Miss Shauna, you're new. Tell us about who you are and your open door.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Shauna, and my other half, David, is also writing a book with me, but he's in the room next to me about to catch a flight to New York today. So he'll be in and out of these calls probably, but our biggest open door is just being a part of this group and Mary saying, yes, come on. She's been a patient cheerleader and visionary for our project. Our heart and what we're writing about is around wise stewardship, but really just wanting to help people stop living a life that they can't afford. We want to be able to help people connect the dots between the way we spend our time affects the way we spend our money and also the way we're leveraging our lives. And so wanting to come alongside those who feel overwhelmed, overextended, and just say there's a better way to live and it matters. And we're called to that better way. So We've written a curriculum that we've taught in person. And so we're hoping to get a book out there that complements a curriculum. And we're just praying that it helps all of us, at least with the conversation. So again, my husband, David, will be joining me and we'll be writing that together from a husband and wife perspective, a his and her perspective, a saver and a spender perspective. And so we'll see how that goes. Prayers appreciated.
That's awesome. All right, Miss Wojo.
Hey there, it's Rachel Wojo, and I am currently writing a book on desperate prayer, embracing the power of prayer in life's darkest moments. And I would not, it's like praying for patience. I would not suggest that you pray for patience unless you anticipate trials. And so is the case with writing a book for desperate prayer. The Lord will give you plenty of opportunity to be in desperate prayer. So those are probably the doors that have been opened, is just that I have been face down several times throughout this process, both because of different personal circumstances in my life, and then also because of the gravity and with which I take the book topic. I take it very seriously and really intentionally. So it's like living a book, if you will. I would say the most recent open door was a really awesome story that God just laid out for me as an example in the book. And it came from a place I didn't expect, which was my church small group. And so when this woman started to share her story about the answered prayer that she received, it just broke my heart. And I was so elated for her as well that I asked her if we could include her story in the book. So I'm hoping that the editor will leave it there, but that's probably been the most recent open door.
That's awesome. Kristen Strong.
Hi. Yeah, so the book I'm working on is on friendship. It's called Desperate Woman Seeks Friends, Stories of Recovering from Rejection, Getting Past the Awkward, and Trying Again for the Good Friends You Need. So I'm still working on the proposal. You know, my first draft of the proposal was probably 45,000 words, which I know is essentially a nonfiction book. And then I whittled it down to 25,000. And then I realized Mary's Canva document will require a lot less. So it has been hard for me to shrink it down, but I'm almost there. Open door wise, I guess feels the biggest one feels not so much writing wise, but last month we had a son graduate from college, commission into the U.S. Air Force. And so I'm a military mom now instead of a military wife. So that just feels like a new stage, having like adult kids, because from 18 to 23, 24, I call them adultish. So anyway, that's kind of where I am, I guess.
That's awesome. Thanks, Kristen. Jordan, your kids are not in the military. You might want to put them there someday, but they're little, right?
We joke that, I have 3 young boys, 8, 6, and 2. And so, there's always interest in things like that. And, not to ruffle any feathers, but we're sort of timid when it comes to things like that. So like if they show interest in the military, I'll just kind of steer them toward the Air Force. So, the one we're the most comfortable with. If you see the boxes, we're getting ready for a move in a few weeks here. So that's a big change in our life. So I'm just sort of living in the mess right now, as you guys have all been there before. Let's see, I'm writing a book called, at least as of now, tentatively titled The Last Great Missionary. And it's about this woman who lived most of her life in the shadows, but is probably one of the most 10 influential missionaries in all of Christian history. She's still alive. So it's been fun to work with her. An open door, let's see. This is maybe a little too early to say this, but I'm working on a story for Christianity Today right now that's going to be a doozy of a story, and I'm expecting it to be another cover story. Now, it might not, but I tend to have a decent read on whether on if the editors go for a cover story or not. So I'm hoping that it goes that way. We'll see.
That's exciting. Congratulations.
No, thank you.
That's cool. Jenna Cruz, There's 2 Jennas now. We got too many
Yeah.
Jennas.
It's actually pronounced cruisy with the E on it.
Cruisy. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I
Thank
never know
you.
that just looking at it. It's so weird.
No, cruisy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been thinking it wrong all this time.
It's all good. Makes it a little more unique. I was just gonna say that I must feel really comfortable on the second meeting I showed up with no makeup on. So meeting number 2, and I'm getting real with y'all. But this is like first week of summer with the kids at home. So we're just figuring things. I had an exciting morning. I guess I'll share what I'm writing about first and then share about my open door. But so my writing it's called Disney and the Gospel, 52 Devotions for Falling in Love with God's Rescue Story. And it's about, it's meant for children, but also for families to learn how to take the frustrating screen time that we all have experienced and turn it into a conversation about God and how to fall in love with his story. When you recognize that the stories all around you show a little bit about God. So that's that. And yeah, what was exciting this morning was that Mary sent me an email on Friday at like 6 p.m. and I didn't get it till this morning, Monday morning. And it was that my book has now been shopped to like 16 publishers. So just really excited in that next phase. And, I'm expecting it to be a quick turnaround. And then I got put in my place a little bit again, just like, oh, it's like another 1 to 4 months of waiting, but still, nevertheless, it's an open door, actually many potential open doors. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I wish it was just like you hand it into publishers and within a week you have an offer. That does not yet happen to me personally, and it's not happened to me as an agent either. So it's always a sluggish slog of sadness. So there's some alliteration for you. Kristen, I know you're not showing your face, but tell us your open door and unmute yourself.
I can show myself for a minute because you're actually being quiet for a second. Hi, I'm Kristen. I am Mary's assistant. Right now I'm writing Amish fiction, and I don't know if it's an open door, but I just turned in my second manuscript. And so it's kind of like looking at what's next and all the possibilities. So I see that as an open door.
Yeah, because it's the next thing. Awesome. Leslie Wilson, are you still there?
I am. Forgive my technical difficulties. My external speaker wasn't working, so I had to borrow my husband's. And then I wasn't muted, obviously. So you're welcome for that little comic relief this morning. I think you're doing what is I wasn't here when it started.
Open door.
Open door. The open door is the kind of the go-ahead that my mom is more independent now. There have been a series of stops and starts even with that, but I've been caring for her almost full time for the past 4 months. The open door is I have now begun work on my book proposal.
Yay, love it. All right, so we are going to turn our attention to Jenna, and she's going to teach us about Canva. And Jenna, you can share your screen, the little green button down below if you would like.
All right.
There it is.
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So when Mary asked me to share about Canva, I got really excited, honestly, because this is something that I'm in every single day. I have learned so much, and I probably still, to be honest, don't know everything that there is to know about Canva because there is so much and they're constantly adding things. So I say that knowing that y'all might know a little bit more than I do about certain things because I have not dug into every single aspect of it yet. So I'm going to just show you guys what's helpful for me and show you some little tips and tricks that I have learned. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the branding hub. Are y'all familiar with that at all? Everybody?
I am.
Okay. For those of you who may not know what it is, I'll just briefly show you. So for example, I'll look at my personal branding hub here. So basically, if you're on the Canva website and you look over to the left, you'll see brand hub. If you'll click that and click brand kit, you can see that I've got several that I have created and that I do some work for. But my personal here, there's a place where you can add all of your logos, your color palettes. You can import fonts that you've purchased or downloaded. You can use ones that are embedded into Canva. And you can even now add photos, graphics, and icons as well. And as you're creating graphics throughout Canva, you can actually access these on the left side of your screen into any of your things that you're creating. So this is huge because you're not having to go in and actually copy and paste your hex code colors. That can be very tedious. So this is very, very helpful. Okay. So one thing that I recently started utilizing within Canva that I knew was there, but I hadn't really been using it, are the folders on the left-hand side of the screen. You can organize things within folders and then folders within folders, which is really nice. So for the podcast, I have a Pastor's Wives Tell All folder. And then within that, I have quotes and verses, that we post throughout our Instagram. I have printables that we use for our retreats that we hold. I have like reel covers and waves for when we put out on Mondays and Thursdays, when we put out a new episode. I have the templates for those. And that is really, really helpful as you create your designs, because you have a place to go back and find them, and you don't have just this full homepage. I mean, you do have a full homepage full of designs you created, but you've designated a spot for them so that it's easy to go back and find if you need to go in and clean it out, like I realized that I need to do last night when I started really looking at this. I got really overwhelmed when I looked at my home screen. I was like, oh, I should probably start deleting some of these. Okay.
Jenna, can you click on one of those folders and just show us what's in one of them?
So this right here, I don't know. So let me show you my Instagram screen really fast. So this is our Instagram. And as you can see, we use the same color scheme throughout. I'm like a stickler about everything being super consistent. It's going to bug me now that we're in the summer and we're not releasing an episode every single week, because now we're not going to see this as often. And so things are going to look different, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. So what I typically do is see what color needs to come next. And I will click, one of these that I've created, and I can go in and change the colors. And this is a good spot for me to show you guys, when you click something, anytime you click something, you can go over here and see that I actually have my personal branding here. So I'm going to change over to the Pastor's Wives, and it shows you here, this is our color palette. And then I actually created another color palette here, because as we were designing the cover of our book and working with Baker on that, we decided that we needed to have some more color on our book cover than we do in our feed, but we didn't want it to completely look totally different when we start posting and advertising and marketing our book. So we created a color palette that actually includes these colors up here. And we kind of gave these over to Baker, and they kind of went off of this and pulled from it so that we could be consistent in our marketing through Instagram and on our website and such. So if you have more than one brand that you are designing for, or if you're working for somebody else as well, you can actually access all of your brand kits from your color palette and even your fonts too. When you click a font and go over here to change it, like if you click your text, you can see right here that this is our Pastor's Wives Tell All. These are the fonts that we use within our Instagram. Does anybody have any questions about that so far?
I'm assuming it automatically populates once you choose your fonts, that they will go there, or you have to do a drop-down menu to find them?
Whenever you click your fonts, like if I wanted to change the font of this here, I can go over here and click this drop-down.
Yeah.
And it'll show you recently used. And then right here, you can click to change whatever Like if
Gotcha.
I click back on mine, it's going to show you that these are the fonts that I use for my branding.
Perfect.
Did that answer your question, Mary?
Yep.
Okay. One thing as far as when you're designing, and I'm not sure what most of you post in your Instagram, but if you are creating slides like this with text, one thing that I always make sure of before I export my image, is you want to make sure that these handles are as close to your letter as possible before you decide to center it, if that makes sense. Because if it's not, then your text is not actually going to be centered on your square. And some people don't necessarily care as much about that. I just have noticed that that's how I like to be consistent when I'm designing. So for example, this text is centered here, but if it was all left justified, I just want to make sure that this handle is as close to that period as possible before I grab things. And you can hit shift and hold down the shift button as you click, and you can select multiple things at once if you're on your computer on Canva. The phone is more difficult when it comes to that. It's still possible for you to select multiple things at one time, but it is a little bit more difficult. There's like a little 3-dot button that you can click, and that will allow you to select multiple things. But I highly recommend editing in Canva on your computer versus your phone. It's just more intuitive. So there you see, I selected both of those at the same time, and then the guides will pop up so you can center. Another thing that is really neat, and y'all may know this already, but if you hit resize up here in the left-hand corner on any of your designs, you can you can either copy it and resize. So say this is typically when you would do this. For example, if I wanted to create a graphic that works just for my website versus or top side, obviously it needs to be formatted differently, and so you can copy it and resize it, and then you can restructure it. So say I wanted this same exact slide right here, but I needed it to be in a different size. So we're going to go over here. Say we want it to be, I'm just going to click this 8.5 by 11, copy and resize. It will reload the page for you and completely change the size of it, but you don't have to redo it. So everything is all there. Something that I discovered last week that was really, really neat. You go to the home page on Canva. If you're like, yes, Jenna, that's super fun, but I don't want to create something from scratch. Obviously, Canva is full of different templates for all different things. You've got, Instagram story post, Instagram like square post. I mean, you name it, Canva's got it. But there is a spot in here where you can actually do a quick create tool. And when I saw this, I was like, I don't think a lot of people know about that, or either it's new and it was here last night and it is not there anymore. Where is it? Let's see. It's usually right here and it says quick create. I was on my laptop last night looking at it, and I'm on my desktop now. Let's just type in quick create. Well, Canva, what's up with that? I'm sure that you could probably go into Google and type in Canva quick create. Also, I will say that most of these features that I'm showing you are going to be available on the paid version of Canva. If you don't pay for Canva, there are probably going to be things that you're not going to see like I see on here. Let's see. Okay, well, hopefully that will pop up for me in a minute. But I do want to show you guys this because this is really helpful. If you go to canva.com/colors, this is very helpful when it comes to, like, if you want to rebrand, or if you don't have a color scheme necessarily, but you want to know what colors look well with each other, you can actually go to a color palette generator. It gives you ideas for color palettes. And then you can even upload an image I'll just do a demo image for now, and you can click through them, but you can upload an image and it will pull hex code colors from that image. So if you find something, if you're inspired by something in nature and you take a picture with your phone one day and you really want to create a graphic that is based off of those colors, you can actually upload your image here and it will give you a color palette off of it. I thought that was really cool. As well as you can go over to your color wheel and it will show you complementary colors depending on where you spin this, which I thought was really neat. Because sometimes I'll be creating something and I'm so used to using the same colors all of the time that I don't think to change, with my own personal stuff. Obviously, we want to stay within our brand, but if I'm just creating for church or something like that, you can go in here and change the different colors, and it'll show you like 2 colors that complement each other if you want to do monochromatic, and it gives you the hex code for it. So you can actually go back and plug these into your branding kit if you want. So that's very helpful. Let's see. And I'm all over the place because there's just so many different things. So if y'all have any specific questions, y'all just jump in. A lot of people don't realize that there are actually apps within Canva that are really neat. There, you can access those on the left-hand side of the screen over here. Let me go back to my home page really fast. So let's start like with the QR code generator. I didn't realize this until recently that you can actually create QR codes through Canva. I was doing it on an external website. And you can actually customize the color of them, which is really neat. I actually created business cards. Can y'all still see me, or do you?
Yeah, we can see you a little bit.
Okay. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but I created my business cards, and I actually added a QR code on my business cards for people to be able to just scan it and go directly to my website. And I created this through Canva. So what you do, delete this. You go over to the left-hand side of your screen and you hit apps. And then sometimes it's right here under popular. There it is. So you click QR code, and all you have to do is type in your website, generate code. It will automatically create a QR code for you. And then you can hit customize right here on this little drop down. You can change the background color and the foreground color. They probably will add this, but as of right now, there's not a place where you can access your branding hub, but you can change the color, or if you already know your branding colors, you can go in and grab the hex code and put it here. Hit update and it will change the color for you. And you can also change the margins. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, you name it. You can do whatever you want with it. And those are huge now. I mean, QR codes are everywhere. So you could add those to business cards. You could add those to documents that you're printing. We're actually going to use them in our book. At the end, we haven't decided exactly how we're going to do it, but basically extra features or we're going to have videos of ourselves talking about the different chapters and things. And we're going to have that somewhere in the book so that people can access these added goodies from the book. Another thing that is really helpful, if you are looking for something specific within the elements of Canva to create a design, you click over here on the left-hand side and you click elements. And all I did was create, here I'm going to go down to a different one so you can see it from scratch. So say I want to find an arrow. I need an arrow for my graphic. I'm going to search arrows, and then you'll see over here to the right-hand side of where I typed in the word arrow, there's a filter button. If you click the filter button, you can actually choose a color. And then there's other filters here as well. If you want a cutout without a background, you can choose that. There's a spot right here that has price, free, or pro, which is very helpful if you don't pay for Canva. And then you just click out of that, and then you can click see all right here on the graphics, and it's only going to show you arrows that are in the color that you chose. So this is very helpful. You can click photos. It's going to show you photos that have an arrow in it, all with that blue color that I chose. There's so many different things in here. Also, if you find a graphic that you like, so say I really like this arrow, if you click the 3 little dots up here that says more above your graphic, there is a spot where you can actually see more from that designer as well. And it might not be there, it might be here. Let's see. Yes. So it's actually over on the left, not after you put it in here, but over on the left-hand side, if you see the arrow, you can click the 3 dots and it says free for Canva Pro, view more by Marco Lavolsi. So if you click that, you'll see anything that this designer has created. So there's so much within Canva, but if you find something that kind of looks like your brand or looks like your style, and you know you're going to be using those that look a lot, then you can actually go in and find them. And you can also, after you have found something, you can actually save it or star it. Let's see. Right here under it where it says star, so that next time you go in and you search for elements, there's a place in here that will say starred. So here's recently used, and there's just a place down here that says starred somewhere. And they've been putting new things in here a lot lately. When I went in to look at it last night, I was like, they had already added like multiple features. So there's a lot of new things happening. Okay, let's see what else I had for y'all. Gradients. So this is really fun. If you wanted to create a slide with text on it. So this background right here is actually a gradient that can be edited. So the way that you access that is you go over to the elements and you go up here to the search again and you type in gradient. And you'll see that there's a lot of different ones that pop up. But if you click one, oh, I clicked 2. Here's this gradient. And fill it up on the whole screen. And then here at the top, you can see that you can change the color. And there's a lot of different ones. Some of them have more colors than others. Like this one up here had a lot of different colors. But then they've also added gradients down here below the color. This is new as well, where you can go in and actually change the different colors there. This is like my brain. So many tabs open at one time. Okay. Another thing that is really helpful for Instagram specifically, if you have an object that you're wanting to put on your design, on your graphic, but you want to take the background away, we'll go here. So I added a picture of the 3 of us right here to this design. And you do that if you're not familiar with Canva. Over here on the left-hand side, there's an uploads button. So you can access anything you've ever uploaded into your Canva here. So I just clicked my picture, brought it here. And then once you've selected your picture, you can hit edit photo. And you'll see at the top, it's usually right at the top, but there's a background remover tool. If you click that and give it a second, it will totally remove the background for you. And we actually did this. It's been a while since we've used one of the 3 of us like this, but we took a picture of ourselves, like throwing our hands in the air, like we were excited. And I think one of us had our hand like we were holding a balloon, but there wasn't actually a balloon there. And then I actually went in and added a fake balloon onto, or like I was holding it in my hand for when we hit a certain number of followers on Instagram, just like as a celebratory post. So there's a lot you can do here. You can, if you're taking pictures of, different products, or even if you took a picture of your book, you could actually remove the whole background from your book. And you can also, if you put a picture of your book on here, you can actually create mock-ups as well. Let's see if it will allow me to do that. I'll click this picture again. Earlier when I did this, it was being buggy and it would not work. but I'm going to try it again. So under where it says background remover, if you go down to the bottom and see apps and click mockups. Oh, it wants to work now. Yay. Okay, so you hit use and it will show you all of these different mockups that are available for you to use. So say we wanted to direct somebody to our website or something like that. Here's a picture of a laptop. Actually, I have to insert my image on top of this. So anytime you see this little blue and green clouded backdrop here, that means that this is a frame. So if you go over to your uploads and grab a picture, you can actually just drag and drop it into the frame. And it puts us right there on that computer screen. This is really helpful. There's also a book mock-up that Mary told us about. There's a really fun book mock-up as well.
Yeah, show us how you do the book mock-up.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go back to edit photo, mockups. If you scroll all the way down, let's see, where is it? Your smartphone, apparel, print. It's probably here in print. So if you hit see all under print, they've added a lot in here since the last time I looked at it. But here's one right here. This looks like it's a hardcover. I know that there's also a soft cover in here available as well. Obviously, this wouldn't be what the front of our book looked like, but you get the picture. But within this, you can actually edit. You can align it with this as well. But I think you actually, last time I did this, oh, there it is, fill. I couldn't remember where it was. There you go. So it makes it look like, you know, our picture is really on this book. One thing that I did not know about Canva until a couple weeks ago is, you know how a PDF document is not editable typically unless you have Adobe, what is the program? You typically cannot edit a PDF. Well, you can do that within Canva. All you have to do is be on your home page and you can grab your PDF. So I'm going to grab it. You just drop it, drag and drop it onto your Canva homepage like this. It says importing your file. You view it. It puts everything in here so that I can go in and edit it.
That's amazing.
I like when I found that out, I was like, that's going to change my life. Let's see. There was another really cool thing that I wanted to be able to show y'all. Oh, if you need to create a graph or some sort of chart, Canva makes it very easy for you to do that. So this is obviously not a chart, but say I wanted to do some sort of chart with like circles and lines. So I've added 2 circles here. If you go over to elements, here's the lines and shapes. You can actually make these lines connect to these circles. It's almost like magnetic. So if you drag these little circles, you'll see that it wants to connect there. Same thing here, but I could even move it up here. But it automatically will connect it for you. And then when you decide you want to move something, it will move the whole thing.
Oh my goodness.
So I created a flow chart for the staff at our church with a lot of different rectangular boxes that had subjects up top and then with a bunch of lines, and it just went down. It was a lot on here. And I got to the end and was like, oh, I'm gonna have to move all of this around, and thought it would all disconnect, but it was all connected because these lines were connected to the boxes. So that makes it very easy to create charts, graphs, things like that. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions so far? There's so much But if y'all had a question about something specific, I could probably tell you exactly how you could achieve it. There's just so much you could do. It's like endless possibilities. One thing that I really love is the text effects within Canva. So this was going to be my example. Mary DeMuth is the goat. That's what all the young people are saying now.
I know it. I like being a goat.
So if you select a text that you have typed and you go up to effects up at the top, you can hit the curve button and you can change the degree of the curve. So if you're trying to create like a circular logo or even just, you know, a verse or a quote, and you want to add a little pizzazz to it, you can either make a circle with that, or you can duplicate your text, and then you would have to go in and make this go the opposite direction. I'm going to select both of these and make them smaller. And then you'd have to line it up just right, but you kind of get that kind of curvy look like this. So this is actually two different text boxes. So that's just a fun little tip if you want to do something different than just your straight across type text. But you also have all of this over here. You can add a shadow, lift. One of my personal faves is this one right here. It just adds a little punch. You can change the background like that. You can change the angle at which this pink, the pink shadow behind it, you can change the direction of it. This is the stuff I get lost in because it's so fun. The offset, you can just not have it offset at all. And then you can also change the thickness of your letters. If you want to do like the typewriter type look where you have a background for your text, go back into effects, make it straight again. If you hit background, and then I prefer the straight instead of the rounded background. There's just so much you can do in here. You can make it look neon. This makes my eyes hurt. This glitch, this glitch effect, but it's kind of fun. So lots of different text options as well. Opacity and transparency is really fun. I'll go to one of our reel covers so you can see what that looks like. This is where I go in and add our crazy pictures and add our text over it. So if you click, this is actually just a box of color that I've over the top of our image. And I've got it in one of these colors over here that matches our branding, but I just have lowered the opacity of it. So when you click it, this button right here that says transparency, you can click that and you can make it darker or lighter. I just kind of do what works for that picture that week. So that's a little tip on that. Is everybody overwhelmed?
If you can also do that just with the image too, you can change the opacity on just the image itself. Yeah.
So for example, if I knew that I wanted to have a picture of, just gonna choose a different picture real fast. Say I wanted to say something about a retreat, or we do retreats where we have a hostess. And this was our hostess, Kelly, at our most recent retreat that we did in North Carolina. But say I wanted to lower the opacity of it, I just didn't want it so saturated. You could actually lower the opacity and then you can put text over it if you wanted. So this comes in handy a ton And if you wanted to put some color over the top of your image, you could go into your elements and just choose a square and throw that on top. I'm going to raise the opacity of this image again. So this is the same kind of thing that we did for the reel. Say I wanted this light blue, and then you could go in and lower the opacity of that. So it still kind of goes along with our color scheme. But then you can also edit your images as well, which is really, it comes in handy. So if you click your image and go up here to edit photo, this is where we were also doing the background removal tool. You can go here and there are a bunch of filters that you can use, or you can just go to adjust and say I wanted this to be black and white. I could just lower the saturation if I wanted to. You can lower the contrast, increase it. You can do just about anything here. You can also go into, let's see, there's so many different apps in here now, and they've moved everything around because I'm not seeing what I want to see right now. Duotone is fun too, because you can completely change the look of an image by changing the color. If I wanted it to be coral or pink, and I just wanted to use this as the background for my text that day, you could do that and then add text over the top of it. Just for example. I really want to show you guys the quick create tool. I'm mad that it is not here. Let me see if it's in a different spot.
Would it be under more under up above with the three
Yeah,
dots?
that's where I'm at right now. I'm scrolling through the more
Oh,
section.
okay.
But I wondered if it was behind my Zoom thing. Let's see. It's very strange that it's not there. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I went to social media right here. And over here on the left-hand side, there's a quick create collection. Hit get started. So you will tell it, okay, I want to create an Instagram post, and you hit continue. And then say I want my main text to be retreat with us today. And then you could put any additional text here. So I'm going to put pastorswivestellall.com. And I could put a picture of us here. If I wanted to add the logo, I totally could. I don't think I'm going to do that. Take it off. Continue. You can choose the type of post that you're creating. If you want it to be elegant, if you want it to be simple, modern, fun. I mean, it's crazy, like what all you can do here. So let's say I like this one, hit continue. Font sets, I can actually click my brand right here. I will click, that's our fonts. Yes, that is our fonts. And click our color palette. And you can sit here and you can shuffle through the color palette to create something that goes with your brand. Isn't that cool? I just thought if somebody doesn't want to come in here and create something from scratch, this is genius. And it just created it for me. See my design. And there it is. And if I wanted to tweak it, I totally could. If I wanted to change the font, but it's if you don't want to take the time to sit and think and be creative on what you want to do that day, and you just need something simple, this is your thing. Which I will utilize. I will utilize this 100%. When it's not something that's just simple, such as a quote or a verse, I will use this for images because this is really fun.
Rachel Wojo asked about bulk create.
Yes. Okay. So Kristen actually might be able to weigh in on that better than me. I know that you can import from a Kristen, was it a CSV file?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Mary saying that.
Okay. I have not actually done that yet because most of our stuff is we create it on a every 2-week basis. And as Stephanie gives me the things to create, I create them kind of. It's never been a bulk create situation for us, but I know that there is that capability. And Kristen could weigh in on that more if she wants to. I think she did end up sending that out at some point, but I can't remember.
She has, and she said she can send that out.
Perfect.
And as Rachel said, you can put all of your book quotes in one CSV and then
Yes.
import it over into your design, and then you have them all created at once, which is
Yes.
I've used it as well. It is very helpful.
That's amazing. Yeah, if you have a lot of text at one time, 100%, that is really, really great. But there's so many other things. We've created stickers in here. You can go in here and print products, and we've done circle stickers for the women who attend our retreats. And it already puts the template here. It gives you some that are here already. Then you can change the text, the colors, all the things. And then when you click print, you actually get them printed from Canva, and the quality is great. Like even these business cards that I showed you guys earlier, these are printed directly from Canva. And they are fast, and they're honestly very inexpensive for what I thought they would be. I thought it was going to be a lot more than it was. I was going to show you the actual, there it is. This is the template where I found a business card that I liked, and then I tweaked it and changed it. And so this is what I ended up with. Put my QR code in there with my colors, and it allows you to print it right here. It tells you all of these, it gives you all these different options. What do you want to have them printed on? I believe you can round the corners on certain things, but then it even shows you mock-ups of what they look like.
That's cool.
You can see. Yeah, it's very cool. And it's Canva's getting more. I mean, like I said, they're constantly adding stuff. They've added stuff this week that I've noticed.
Yeah.
So
Kristen Strong just wants to see you remove a background from a photo again.
Yeah.
And then she also asked, do you have a place that you like to look for unusual or new fonts?
Oh, I love fonts so much. So I actually love defont.com. That one's really fun. I get a lot from there. If you're looking for something really unique that you're going to pay a little bit for, but they're not terrible depending on what you're using them for, what kind of license you're getting. Creativemarket.com has some things on there, and they also have a lot of font packs where it will give you multiple fonts that look really good together, and it's all in one download.
All right. Yeah. Show us a background remover real quick.
Okay. Delete these. I don't know why that's there. That's bugging. Okay. So I will go over here to my uploads. Let's say I want to use this picture of Jessica. You go to edit photo. After you've selected your photo, you hit edit photo. And then right over here on the left under tools, there's a background removal tool, BG remover. So if you click that, it will automatically remove the background for you. And then if you click it again, you see you got these little configure sliders. There's actually an erase and a restore button. So say I don't want, this is like the size of your brush. So say I want to zoom in and down here really fast. Is it going to let me do it? Probably not. Okay. You can actually say I want to remove this part of her hair here. Restore part of it. Because sometimes it's not going to give you a perfect cut. I will say if you are taking a picture of something that you know you're going to want to remove the background on it, you want to make sure you're taking that picture of that object or person on a solid background, because that makes this tool work way better. So you can go in and just kind of tweak. Oh, wrong one. Erase. You can go in and tweak your cutout by using these brushes. And it's not perfect, but it's, if, like I said, if you use it and you create the image or take the picture on a solid background, it's going to be much cleaner and you're not going to have to really do much to it. Did that help?
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's
All
also
right.
a magic eraser tool too. Like if there's something in the background of your image you don't like, you can actually
Get rid of it.
just get rid of it.
Yeah. Like if there's a random guy at the beach. Yeah.
Yes, I did that
Yeah.
yesterday.
You can erase him.
Yep.
All right, we're done on time, so you can stop sharing your screen. This has been
Okay.
great. I've also recorded it, so I'll send it to you this afternoon. So if you need to, like, if you're like me, you're like, I forgot about that one thing, so we can watch it again. Thank you, Jenna, for teaching us so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And let me pray for us real quick, and we'll be done. Jesus, thank you for every single person here and those that are missing. And I just pray your abundant blessings on them and just the treasure of knowing you, that we would be reminded of that today. And Lord, I pray that we would not be overwhelmed with all the tasks in our lives, that we would just do one thing at a time and experience your joy and your shalom as we do it. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Hey, Mary, I was going to say, if anybody thinks of something later and they have questions, y'all feel free to email me. I'm happy to help with, I love this stuff. And there's so much that you might have questions later. Just email me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.